Hey, what's up, guys? Little man with a big opinion here. So, I'm at my sink again, washing the baby's bottles. And as I do this, I typically do a bit of paying attention with what is going on in the news. And I pulled out my old LBV because I'm planning on making a video talking about military surplus gear, because at this point this thing is a surplus item. But I was listening to the news on my way home from work, and I haven't seen anyone talk about it in great detail. But you can move your World War III ticker over a little bit more, and you can say war with China again, and you can say multi-front war, or if you believe in Janet Yeller, or however you pronounce her name, saying we can fund a two-front war, then you might as well believe that we can fund a three-front war, because the U.S. State Department and a couple of military people came out and said that the U.S. will honor a 1951 treaty with the Philippines, that we will, help defend them if that need arises. Sometime yesterday, I don't remember the time of the article, that's not the important part, but a Chinese warship collided with two of the Philippines National Guard ships. So boats ran into each other. It was in the South China Sea, where China has been pretty ballsy about trying to say that they have a claim to it, and they go back to looking at when their dynasty had a claim to it. And we could go back and discuss them building the little bitty islands in the reefs to try to give them, water access, because it's something like 10 or 20 miles off of your coast. It's still considered part of your nation's land, so they've been building all these islands to try to say it's all ours. That's a really big sentence. But what it comes down to is the Chinese, at some point, I think they're going to want to try to take Taiwan back. I wouldn't put it past them to want control of other island countries in the Pacific. And, they're always, almost looking to start something. And, the United States has said we will defend Taiwan. The U.S. has said we will defend, basically everyone. We're still acting like a world police out here. But those are the latest, China messing around kind of things. And so it makes me want to say the same thing that I've been telling y'all for a while. You need to be stacking food to the rafters. You need to be adding more water storage. You need to be getting yourself in some sort of shape. All of those different things. But essentially, sometime yesterday, China violated international maritime law because they blocked the ships, and then they collided with the ships. It was two Filipino ships. Bunch of people up in arms about it. Do I think it's going to be the cause that, turns into our modern day shot heard around the world? I have no idea. But what I do know is I think the Chinese are smart enough to know that the United States has preoccupied any of its extra funding to Ukraine. Biden's talking about doing an emergency bill package to Israel, and I don't see the Ukraine thing ending anytime soon. I don't see the Israel thing ending anytime soon. And I think, the U.S. has already been stretched to its limits for a while. And, it only really takes one person for us to, start doing a big commitment towards, to where I think other sides are going to want to, finally make their decision on if they want to get themselves involved. And I mean, when the United States, being a history teacher, when we got involved with World War II, it took us about 2 years to really get rolling on we're going to fight something in the Pacific and we're going to fight something in Europe. And I think in our modern times, we really don't have, the starting capability to, make that happen. We have a lot of forces that can... Why are you beeping at me, dishwasher? We have a lot of forces that can be, ready to go in their 72-hour time period. But then, the vast majority, like my brother's down at the border, and it took like 2 weeks just to get him to go 8 hours away and, get that logistical mess sorted out. So imagine sending a full-size, army to whatever places that we're sending them to. I don't think the U.S. is ready for that. And I really think in modern times, I could possibly see a World War III scenario that actually involves, U.S. soil. I think it might involve Alaska more than the continental United States. But you really never know. The dishwasher's done. That's why it was beeping. That's letting all of the steam out. So, maybe China's doing this because they see we're preoccupied. They're talking about wanting to, get more involved in the Middle East again, even though we've only been out for about a year at this point, and they already want to put resources and manpower back into messing around with that. Things that I want to mess around with. Oh. Is I've bought more rice and beans and things like that, and I need to fill up a bunch of these half-gallon mason jars. I'll freeze the food to kill any of the microscopic bugs or anything like that. But for foods like that, I like using mason jars because, the food is already pre-dried. I don't mess with Mylar bags for food like that. And then the other thing that we're getting ready to do is I made my breakfast scramble, egg, sausage, potatoes. We've got to kind of chop it up into a little bit smaller bits and then go stick it in the freeze dryer. So, we are using the freeze dryer to kind of make candies and things like that. But the next thing going in Mylar bags is we freeze dried a bunch of these ice cream sandwiches so that we can stick them in Mylar bags and we'll have some sort of dessert items. As you can see, it's kind of difficult. We only got about 40 seconds left on its defrost, and after that we will start running some food items to put aside into Mylar bags. We got the freeze dryer, mostly to create another source of income for the wife so she can stay home, but once a week we do run food items, and it's basically making our own Mountain House meals. So I still believe the concept of stacking the food to the rafters, and we still have space in the house, and you can be a little bit paranoid being a prepper. So adding more food supplies, even with the economy that we're in. We've been getting some rain, and so I need to check my 55-gallon drum to see how full it is. Because right now, I use it to fill up the water, or the water bowls for the dogs. But, we're getting into our winter, which is when we typically get more of our rain. So, we're working on that. But I think the last thing that I would add to this is, just being hyper vigilant. I'm not saying you need to go out and panic buy a bunch of stuff, but, just keeping that thought in your head that, China's kind of, I'll say it again, they're being a bit ballsy. I think my dad joke of the week is they're testing the waters and, seeing what they can and can't get away with. Because if they just kind of get a slap on the wrist from the international trading, whatever the group's called, then what's to stop them from taking it a step further? What's to stop them from, sinking fishing boats or building more of their little islands to say, all of this water is now China's waters. And, I really think, they're definitely spending more on their military than they were before. Our military budget, for the most part, has only really been increasing through inflation and a few projects, but I think we're still the #1 powerhouse, but we're losing ground every year, and at some point I think it's going to boil over. Between the first 2 world wars, we're only about 35 years, and we've been pretty okay for the last 80-ish, and I know we're gonna have a third one at some point. I just don't know when that's gonna happen. So until then, I'm gonna keep storing food away. I'm gonna keep paying attention to the news. I'm still gonna go on a run once a week, and work out 4 or 5 other times a week, and do a ruck every other week, because at this point I'm up to about 10 miles. So not doing them every week. Still putting aside the bullets and buying the guns and the first aid supplies and all the different things that you get for prepping. So if you'd like to see a video on what you should spend $100 on prepping towards, I'll make a video for that. I did get a comment talking about a bug out bag for the winter, so I plan on making a video for that sometime this week. It'll probably be on Saturday, but don't know exactly when I'm going to do it. But still paying attention to the news, and the ship is full steam ahead. So if you enjoy these videos, like them, comment, subscribe, do all those things, and share the videos with your friends and family. With that, catch you in the next one.